Hey, it's Jeremy from OpticHouse.com. So, interestingly enough, you thought I was done posting videos of Morningstar issue 4 in progress. But no, just because I've got the books in print does not mean that I am done with the videos because I was recording them as I went, and I still got a couple more in the chamber, so you'll still get one or two more videos of me inking the last few pages. Anyway, what's odd is I'm getting to this point now where the time between me having inked these pages and what's actually going on in my head and what I'm thinking about now is getting a little bit, get a little bit further apart. And I don't think I'm necessarily as interested in talking about what I'm doing on these exact pages right now. There's other stuff that's in the forefront of my mind. And I guess I'd rather just talk about that. I was reading email. I'm on the mailing list of the comic book writer Warren Ellis. I'm a big fan of his work, and in one of his most recent emails on his mailing list, he had mentioned that he had just finished, or he was almost done finishing a first draft of a new project that he's working on. He's got like code names for his projects because they're things that aren't ready to be announced, and it immediately made me think. So he's almost done with the first draft. How many drafts does he do for each issue? I've asked a few other professional comic book writers this question simply because comic books, generally in terms of Marvel and DC stuff, are done on such a rapid time frame and at a rapid pace that I kind of wondered how does a comic book writer get a chance to write multiple drafts? Because in general, you presume the first draft of anything you make is horrible and just sucks. And so I was wondering, how many drafts does Warren Ellis do? And I thought, well, why don't I Google it? Because whenever my first thought was, ooh, he sometimes responds to people's emails. Maybe I'll email him back. But then I thought, considering how many interviews he's done and how active he is on forums and how much he's spoken about his creative process, the answer is probably out there. And I always hate when people ask me questions that they could go find the answers out for themselves. And I'm glad I did Google it. Not just because I would feel like a dumbass wasting, Warren Ellis's time, but also because it led me down a couple of interesting rabbit holes. I found one blog where he mentioned his process of, it was actually a collection of interviews with of a variety of people, but there was one with him having a conversation with Michael Oeming, who's a writer-artist. And, he mentioned that he'll dump everything out in a Word document and then have to go back and rewrite to put it into a more cohesive form. So that right there forces him to do two passes on everything. And then I actually went through and looked at a couple more of the results from when I was Googling it. And I found another thing, oddly enough, maybe just a month ago, Warren Ellis addressed this exact same issue of how many drafts he does in the actual mailing list that I was on, the one that spawned the question. So sometimes, you hear the answers to the questions you want, you don't even notice that they went by. I mean, it should have been something that I would have in the forefront of my mind and had taken notice of. But for some reason, it just didn't register this time. But then when I went back and looking for it, I'm like, oh, yep, he wrote this. And I actually remember reading the email where he mentioned this. So, sometimes the answers are out there. You just need to look for them. They're right in front of your face. That's it for now. Go to be creative.